Sri Lanka's most powerful news brand.
Very good morning to you. You're joining us on Newsline the day after Christmas, the 26th of December. While it might be a happy day for the world, over here in Sri Lanka, for us 13 years ago, tragedy struck and a lot of lives were lost as a result of the tsunami back in the year 2004. On a day like today, it has been 13 years since that happened, and for 13 years our country has been trying to rebuild itself from what happened, and it's probably a time to think whether we are prepared in the future if something like that happens. Are we prepared, and will we lose property and people in the future? So it's time to maybe now think about the future as well, while we think about the past and what happened in the past. Keeping that in mind, however, even if we draw attention to the future of our country, we cannot forget what happens in the past. We cannot forget how we have come to where we have come. So I'm going to talk to our senior lawyer, President's Counsel, Hemantha Warnakulasuriya this morning. Good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, Chathuranga. Good morning to you.
Good morning. We're going to talk about this year, the 2017 year, and what we have achieved and what has happened in our country. I'm going to start off with Mr. Warnakulasuriya. Now, Mr. Warnakulasuriya, at the beginning of this year, we saw the Presidential Commission to inquire into the bond issuance taking place. We know that the findings have been very serious, and in a few days we are going to see the final result being handed over to the President. Well, we know about the President's Commission and we know about what happened there. I want to go after that. We have received, while we are receiving a lot of bad things, we have also received a few good things here and there as well. We have received the GSP Plus concession. The government has acted on it, and through discussions we have been able to receive it. How many good things have we seen? And
I believe the latest thing was the removal of the ban by Russia about the import of tea. I think that is a major success. We must compliment everyone in the government for having taken up this matter seriously, and having gone to Russia and then induced the people to withdraw this ban. I know as a diplomat, the very, very difficult matter. Once a country makes a decision, Chathuranga, to impose a ban, whatever reason, whether it's beetles or whether it's hackers or whether it's something else, they are very reluctant to remove the ban. And there was a theory that the Russians want to give up Sri Lanka and then also handle the matter, get the imported tea from Kenya on a barter system. So they were trying to move away from the dollar payment, switching of exports and imports of dollars. So therefore, I believe that is a very, very major achievement. As a diplomat, I know it's very, very difficult, and we congratulate the government for having done that and having achieved that.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, now we've continuously spoken about various issues in the past. Yes, the government has done a few things right, but we've also seen situations like the Foreign Exchange Act coming into play.
Now, now we must be very fair, Chathuranga. GSP Plus, I know, when I was ambassador to Italy, the former President, Mr. Hemantha Warnakulasuriya, sent a delegation, including the President Cardinal Malcolm Ranjit, headed by religious dignitaries, to speak to the countries and then get them to withdraw the GSP Plus. And I must say that publicly, I was the only ambassador who was able to get a meeting with the Foreign Minister of Italy, and the Foreign Minister conceded that this is nothing but action taken by the West in order to cripple the Sri Lankan government for having won the war, having not been dictated by them, having not been dictated by for having not permitted Prabha to live and all that. So the fact that we won the war was a devastating blow to Norway and all other countries. So now, even there, we have been, though Cardinal Malcolm Ranjit and others were able to meet the Italian delegates, though Italian delegates were able to convince, we were able to convince them of the necessity, but the other country did not follow suit. So therefore, even here, you know, we at a time when the war was on, we became an international pariah. We were not, the West was not prepared to accept our country's foreign policy position. But I believe even if we acted as a pariah, we did the correct thing by ending the war. You cannot go behind the fact, because if we permit the foreigners to dictate of policy, internal policy, then we will always be a country beholden, bent down to the West. But here, no, the President Maithripala Sirisena has been able to draw a line and been able to convince convince the Western powers and other countries that we are prepared to bring back democracy. In that form, we are prepared to extend our hand of friendship to all the countries in the world, and he has been accepted. Though people laughed at him when we met the Queen and the way that the Queen treated him, it was all known in the Western world that is a rare opportunity given to a Sri Lankan president. And also the fact that you can remember when Mr. Maithripala Sirisena went for that G7 conference, Barack Obama, the former president, came to his seat and congratulated him. Yes. So these are things that we have won. So we can't forget the fact that this government, especially in the section of foreign policy, has achieved something. At the same time, we also can't forget the fact that this is the only government that has appointed a commission to inquire into the fraudulent activities of the present government and the officials. So isn't that a plus point? Now, the only thing, I have said, repeated this before also, the only time this happened was when Walter Tharkodapitiya was appointed by Mr. S.W.R.D. Bandaranaike, appointed bribery commission to deal with bribe takers during his time.
Yes.
Now, so therefore, what the commission report, I don't know what is going to be, but the biggest difficulty, the biggest problem would be when the commission makes recommendations. If it makes adverse recommendations, what the Attorney General would do to bring them to book, you know, because that commission can only make recommendations. Yeah. It's up to the Attorney General. So there's a very big question, question that can be posed, whether the Attorney General could be seriously independent and would take a decision independently. Now we have shown, the Aegis Department has shown through Mr. Dappula Olivera and Hemantha Warnakulasuriya that there are, and Mr. Gunathilaka and various other people, other state councils, they have been completely independent, oblivious to the other factors, oblivious to what the public perception of the officials, and especially against even the ministers. They were able to cross-examine Ravi Karunanayake and showed what a poor witness he was on the witness box. So all those achievements. Yeah. But the next step would be what the Attorney General would do and how much can the President enforce the Attorney General to take certain action.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, now when you take a look at the government, it's two plates. Yeah. We see two parties together, two main parties. So while we are commending the President for all that you just said, there is also the side where there is a lot of, the President did not have to appoint the Presidential Commission if there was no corruption in the government.
Absolutely true. No, the right throughout, Chathuranga, right throughout, from 1947, especially after 1957, every single government was accused of corruption. They did not do nothing. Now even today, why I am saying is the government, that is appointing a special presidential commission is not sufficient. We must, if the government is seriously interested, if Mr. Maithripala Sirisena, the President, is seriously interested in curbing the corruption, which has gone completely beyond the imagination of any reasonable prudent man, where people are openly asking for bribes, openly asking for commissions, and it has become a joke.
Yes.
No one thinks the seriousness of it. Now, how can we stop this? We have to bring immediately legislation. Now, this is what we have not been discussing, Chathuranga. We have to bring legislation to cover all those aspects. Especially, I will tell you one thing, the ministers take this, ministers always gives improper verbal orders to their secretaries, which cannot be tenable, which cannot be sustained in a court of law. They give verbal orders. They do not give written directions. And the poor secretary, who doesn't carry out the orders, he removed. There is strong protest against him. Or if he carries out the orders, then he will be responsible. So therefore, we must bring legislation. If the minister, no secretary should carry out verbal instructions of the minister unless he puts this in writing. I mean, even if he puts that in writing, then most of these things will be corrected, but he will not want to put himself in jeopardy.
Definitely.
In trying to use government funds. Now, the present legislation, Chathuranga, about the Government Property Act is highly inadequate. I do not think, though people have been brought under that act, I don't think those acts cover certain elements of certain actions of what the government has done, government is doing at the moment. Now, for instance, even if you take the Silridi case, famous Silridi, I still feel that there is no offence committed under the penal code of misappropriation. Therefore, my position is that the government, if we want to stall corruption, I think we must, all those people who stand up for corruption must get together and suggest to the government how the law should be amended in order to prevent any further corruption. We forget about the corruption in the past. Let us stop corruption now, at this moment, and prevent the people from saying, if you commit corruption, these laws are there. So whether the laws can take place even today or tomorrow in the future, where it has become law of the country. It's not retrospective legislation, immediately to prevent corruption of this present government.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, if you take a look at what you're saying now, we can't really have faith in the government for doing that. We see since you're talking about the situation, the Elections Act, the Provincial Council's Elections Amendment Act, we saw one act going in and another act coming out. We have seen that a number of times. Foreign Exchange Act went through and then something else people have not been talking about, clearing money laundering and matters like that have come into light afterwards. So how can we trust the government? Yes, the people will come forward and say, look, we need these laws. You will say...
The government, all governments except this, all governments have always tried to protect their own members of parliament and ministers who have been up to no good. They have not only in this case, even people who have committed murder, the government has intervened and prevented any action being taken against them. So therefore, it is a very, very difficult thing. But there must be sufficient public opinion. Now, see, Chathuranga, the amount of public opinion you created in the question of the bond commission. Now see the amount of public opinion created about this new Foreign Exchange Act. Now the government is contemplating bring another legislation to curb the pitfalls of the Foreign Exchange Act. So therefore, I believe the media, I mean all right-thinking people who have no political agenda, they are not here to topple governments or appoint governments or support this government or not. We are against corruption. So we must all get together, all those people all get together, headed by the media, and then urge the government, demonstrate, asking them to bring legislation so that this can be stopped.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, you speak about the media and the role played by people, but you know, as the chairman of the TRC, the social media also plays a vital role. Now, if you take a look at the comments that we have for this particular program in about half an hour, you'll see that various people express their candid opinions. But sometimes you see a politician or a group of people getting a set of people together and commenting what they want. They have their own campaign. Situations like this lead to very messy
conditions. No, the social media, I believe you can't curb social media. They'll keep on saying various things. Various other ministers have their own own henchmen is a very simple thing. Get the Twitter or the Facebook and try to say something what the minister wants. But the important factor remains that this government, especially the United National Party headed by Ranil Wickremesinghe, lost faith amongst the people who voted for him, especially in Colombo when the bond scam came out.
Yeah.
And then when the whole thing got revealed, like a picture, like a cinema in front of the commission, people are aghast. People did not believe that this is so. People did not want to share the thoughts of, even thinking that our leader we have voted is a part of, was in a way, some way responsible for this. So my position, Chathuranga, is that we have a very important role to play. The role of the people, the educated elitists who are educated professionals who want to stop corruption, and then how to do it. In fact, we can do that only by legislation. So bring legislation to cover all these acts. Various now they say that now, sorry, it's Mr. Vimal Veeramans's case. There had been so many charges against him, saying that you misuse the vehicles. Now I do not know whether ultimately when this matter goes up to a higher court, whether you can sustain that. That will clearly show in the Gotabaya Rajapaksa's case. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's case, the Attorney General approved the charges or wanted certain action be taken, but then the Court of Appeal definitely correctly decided that there cannot be a criminal offence on a contract. So similarly, now, but then what he did was morally wrong. No, I do not for a moment concede that if he want to build his father's monument, he should have collected money privately and got the father's monument built, not to enter into a contract without any money being paid. That is all wrong. Similarly, distribution of Silradi was all wrong during the election campaign, but it must come within the ambit of the criminal law. So that ultimately when he goes to the Court of Appeal of the Supreme Court, they will find out that they are absolutely no leg to stand and this will be thrown out. So my position is ensure that new legislation, fresh set of legislation brought in, especially empowering the Secretary not to enforce, not to put into practice any orders given by the minister on verbal ground, not on written instructions. So therefore, then also ensuring that this kind of misappropriation that have been taken place in the kind of things that they now say, Vimal Veeramans's case, government pays for the cars are brought in and given to various people. That is wrong. But I think there is a criminal offence, but not under the present law. So these are some of the things that the legislature or the white people who framed the regulations some years back, some 200 years back, never envisaged this kind of thing. It was a criminal misappropriation, a personal thing. You misappropriate for yourself. You take the microphone and go home and sell it. Then take the money. Then it's for you. But then you can take the microphone and go home and do not do anything and give it to someone else. Or do something else. That may not be strictly under the term. So therefore, very necessary that we must really think, and especially really think in preventing this kind of thing is to bring legislation. Now the foreign exchange, see what happened. I mean, by legislation, for the first time, charges against the minister was dropped.
Yeah.
Now that is reprehensible now. No conscionable person, no right-thinking person would ever agree to that, and that was done putting wool over the eyes of the public. And how did this happen? How did this happen? And no one knew. Now people are talking about various things, but originally they should have protested.
Definitely.
And then also the question of sovereignty. I'm always thinking that a member of parliament should have the freedom, must have the freedom to vote, to not vote, express their views. But for the sake of the government, they could vote. But then when this happened, the government must be in a position to express their views and say what they think about it, not what the government wants the MP to say.
Yes.
So therefore, our supreme power has been also,
or the leader of the party, or
the leader of the party. No, ultimately, if the policy of the government is to have free exchange control act and bring all kind of laundered money to Sri Lanka, that's the policy. You vote for it. But then you must be able to express in Parliament opposing, so that the government can at least think about it, and then see what can be done. You must not have signal posts. However brilliant you are, however honest you are a signal post, then you are useless, because you are not in any way enforcing the wishes of the people, who voted for the individual.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, now since we are in the Christmas season, all the families get together and enjoy Christmas. I've been to a few family dinners, and unfortunately, the people at my family, let me say, are still of the opinion, the extended family are still looking at things from a point of view of the UNP, or a point of view of the SLFP, or a point of view of the JVP. For example, if someone comes and says, look, this has happened, there would be someone in that dinner table trying to defend the government or try to defend that particular minister. Why do people still look at the parties?
Slavish mentality. Because I believe there's another problem, very big problem, Chathuranga. We members of the public has become a part and parcel of this political setup. The politicians are not product of Aryan culture. It's our culture. It's our people who become politicians.
Yeah.
And look at the manner in which say a few years ago, the underworld ruled the politics of this country. I mean, if you are a powerful minister, then you must be able to have a powerful underworld under you.
Definitely.
And then they vote for you.
That was the opinion.
So therefore that must change. We are not here to change governments, but we are here to vote against which is reprehensibly wrong, morally wrong. I mean, how can anyone, Chathuranga, tell me, how can anyone defend the manner in which this bond central bank was robbed? Can anyone defend it? You can't. Then can anyone defend the manner in which this government brought in legislation to absolve, acquit a minister whose against whom charges were pending and against whom the reasonable prudent attorney general would have filed charges?
Yeah.
So therefore, we are also responsible. So we are being coloured by this UNP, SLFP thing. We must be in a position to not vote for a government, vote against the government if they have not kept the promises. Now the UNP we voted. Why? Last time we voted for this government. Why? Because they promised to ensure that this will be a corrupt-free government. But here we find that the biggest corruption took place under this government.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, if you take a look at whatever is going on, we've seen various matters coming to light in the previous year. If you were to decide whether this government, it was a good year for the government or whether it was a bad year for the government, what would you say?
I would say that the bad outweighs the good. The central bank bond scam is something that cannot be, I think that the reflections, the problems of the bond scam will go on for another number of years. EPF and other people's money which have been robbed, I don't think they have mechanism even to recover this money. So therefore, there are two things, foreign exchange, especially our foreign minister and our foreign relations have improved, but basically we have done, the government has a lot of minuses than pluses.
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, the government promised elections, promised accountability, all of that then came into power. There was a delay. And when the election was finally announced to say, look, this is when we are going to have the election, this is when you are to appoint your representatives to the local government election authorities, we see that the numbers have been doubled. The amounts that are spent for the elections have been doubled. The facilities have been, the money that has been allocated will be doubled because of the number of candidates. And will the people's aspirations once again be achieved?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not, because what will happen, there will be so many, instead of how much now, the 8,000. 8,000, there will be MPs, or there will be ministers, or there will be ministers,
local government
officials who are equally as powerful as the minister.
Yes.
So the corruption will increase 8,000 times more. I mean, we should have representation would have been minimum or the same amount or less than that, because we don't own these people. What have they done? But the local government elections, the officials, what have they done to improve the lifestyle of the ordinary people who vote for them?
Mr. Warnakulasuriya, now we've continuously spoken about the Bond Commission. Various people's names were revealed at the Bond Commission. Some of the members, we later found out, members of the COPE, had phone calls even with people who are involved. Without taking a lot of time on this, I want to ask you, the integrity of a politician, if that person was in the COPE and if that person is contesting local government elections again, integrity of a person, how important?
In any country where democracy prevails, all these people whose name transpired should have resigned from their position and should have permitted
and stayed that way.
Yeah,
and got a new position.
Yeah, and then got them to investigate this entire situation and entire allegations against them. Now, for instance, if a government servant is accused of some misdemeanor, even under the ARs and FIRs, you are interdicted. And the investigation is carried out after interdiction. Here, recently the names transpires, and there is absolutely no way of disputing the fact that different courts were given, the records are there. I mean, then they still continue to be not only be members of parliament, they also continue to make statements in the parliament and in outside, asking the speaker to intervene and then protect their rights, parliamentary privileges, by charging the people who made those accusations. So, I mean, what are these countries coming to? I mean, we have more or less accepted bribery and corruption as the norm. Now, even in Water Talkuda Commission, what happened, Chathuranga, though the Talkuda found about 6 or 7 powerful ministers of the SLP guilty of corruption, Sirima Bandaranaike did not do anything about it. It was then only when she was defeated and when Dudley Shenaga's government came in, only they brought legislation to remove the civic rights. So, I mean, there has been a protectionist attitude where you do any wrong, if you are in the party, if you are with me, if you support me, then you are protected. You can go on robbing, you can go on committing murder, you can go on becoming a underworld thug. But as long as you are with me, you are being protected.
Maybe the reason for this ideology was the former government and...
No, it's not the former government. It has been there right from the beginning. After 1956, with the new people's government, all this happened. The whole concept changed, because you must understand 1950s, I don't think you were born even.
Definitely not born.
Not born. You know what happened? That people went and sat on the speaker's chair, invaded the parliament and sat on the speaker's chair, make a appeyandu. I mean, the whole concept of the freedom, the institution was shattered by Bandaranaike in 1956. So from that, then of course, the bribery started with Bandaranaike mainly. As I told the Talkuda Commission, where the ministers took piece of carola, dry fish, and one bag of chilies to give appointments. And then all the appointments going in rest houses, where teachers were asked to come. The minister used to go there and have sex and then give appointments. So that is the culture. That is the culture which is ingrained in our own cultural habitat. You know, we have, even today I'm asking you, Chathuranga, even today, what will you do to make your child enter a privileged school, like Royal Law St. Thomas, Royal Law or the government school? You will forge every single document. You will bribe the principal. There was a former bribe the principal in order to ensure that your child is entered. Then what happens? Your child knows that the whole process. Later he comes to know, because he is staying in Homagama. You are supposed to have given address within a matter of 200 or 300 yards, and you with the connivance of the principal. So therefore we have to change ourselves, you know. The whole concept is wrong.
Yes.
If you go to even if you go to a Buddhist temple, the man, the village thug, is praised by the Buddhist priest.
Yes.
Right? Which I believe is inherently wrong. You know, we must be able to show the distance from that kind of thing. His money is not the most important thing for a vihara, Buddhist temple. All this happens because our culture, we have a culture of impunity. We believe we have to achieve whatever we have to achieve through good or bad means.
Thank you, Mr. Warnakulasuriya. Now, from what we are saying, our country is developed in just one sense. From giving bribes of chili bags, we have come to giving bribes of billions. In that sense,
no, not in rupees, in dollars.
Thank you very much, Mr. Warnakulasuriya, for being here with us this morning and talking to us about the government and this year and how this year has been for this country. We will have you on Talk of the Town on our sister channel, Yes FM, in a short while as well. So have a listen to that. Thank you very much for watching. We will be joining you tomorrow as well with an interesting guest. Take care.